Good morning, church family. This is Pastor Dennis here, coming to you with our video devotional for this week from our front porch, from Emily and I's house here in Springfield. And let me just say a couple things about that. So, since today is Friday, I work from home and watch Abigail on Fridays. So, let me say thank you to you as a church for allowing me that flexibility to work from home on Fridays and to be with her on these days as well. But let me also apologize if there is any background noise. We live here on the north side, just off of Kearney Street, so there's lots of traffic. Sometimes there's emergency vehicles and sirens and other things going on. So if there's a lot of background noise for this video, then let me just apologize for that now. I wanted to encourage you this morning, again, with something from the book of John. As you know, in my time abiding with Christ, continuing with Him and building my personal relationship with Him, I've been studying through the Gospels and reading through the Gospels and thinking about different passages from those, and now I'm in the book of John. So I'm going to encourage you with something from John chapter 6. But let me also remind you of something about the book of John that we looked at, I think, last summer. There are 7 statements in the book of John, 7 I am statements that Jesus makes about Himself. And we know that those statements are significant because He reveals something about Himself in each one of those, and something that He wants His followers to understand and people to understand about Him, some significance of Him. So let me just reiterate that there are 7 of those. So over the next few videos, next few times that I'm in or I record these videos, I will be going over one of those different 7 I am statements, just as a reminder to us about what Jesus said about Himself and what that means for us. And the first one is found in John chapter 6. So right after Jesus does the miraculous feeding of the 5,000, where He multiplies the loaves and the fishes, and he feeds all of those people in such a miraculous way. Well, that night His disciples get into a boat and cross the sea, and they're on their way to Capernaum. And Jesus stays back on the shore, and in between the feeding of the 5,000 and where we're going to pick up is where He walks on the water, and then He gets into the boat with His disciples, and the storm is calmed, and they end up on the other side. Well, we pick up in chapter 6, verse 24. It says this. It says, "When the people, therefore, saw that Jesus was not there," so back on the other side of the shore where He left them, "nor His disciples, they also got into boats and came to Capernaum, seeking Jesus. And when they found Him on the other side of the sea, they said to Him, 'Rabbi, when did you come here?' Jesus answered them and said, 'Most assuredly I say to you, you seek Me not because you saw the signs, but because you ate of the loaves and were filled. Do not labor for the food which perishes, but for the food which endures to everlasting life, which the Son of Man will give you, because God the Father has set His seal on Him.' They said to Him, 'What shall we do that we may work the works of God?' Jesus answered and said to them, 'This is the work of God, that you believe in Him whom He sent.'" We jump down to verse 35. It says, "And Jesus said to them, 'I am the bread of life. He who comes to Me shall never hunger, and he who believes in Me shall never thirst.'" So this first I am statement that Jesus makes is that He is the bread of life. And He first kind of corrects or rebukes the crowd, because He said, "You were seeking after Me because you ate of the loaves and you were filled." You wanted more physical sustenance. You want Me to just give you more food. You have only sought after Me because of the physical things that I can do for you. He tells them that that's not good. That is actually wrong. He says, "Do not labor for the food which perishes, but labor for the food which endures to everlasting life, and because they had exerted so much labor. I mean, they had followed him. They even all got into boats and crossed the sea just to get to the other side. And he understood their hearts, that they went through all of that effort just for some more physical food. They wanted him to do another miracle. They didn't recognize that the miracle he had performed on the other side was an indicator of who he truly is. They didn't see him as the Son of God. They didn't see him as the bread of life. They just saw him as this miracle worker who could provide some physical food for them. And he says, "I am the bread of life. Anybody who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst." Jesus told them, and he tells us, that it requires us coming to him and believing in him to receive this spiritual nourishment that only he can provide as the bread of life. That it requires us coming to him and believing that he is the Son of God, that he is the Messiah, that he accomplished everything that he said he was going to accomplish, and that we believe in that, and we trust in that. And when we do, then we receive the bread of life. We receive this spiritual sustenance that surpasses all physical sustenance. So my challenge, and for what I want us to kind of think about is what are you seeking after Jesus for? What are you going through the religious things that you do? What are you doing all that for? Are you doing it for just some physical provision? Are you doing it just so that you think you can get more food, or you might be healed, or God will just provide financially for you? Why are you doing the things that you do in relation to Christ, in relation to God? Because it can be easy for us to just look at the physical things and only do things based on that. Just like the people, they were seeking after Jesus because he provided food. He said, "Don't labor for the food which perishes, but work hard for that food which doesn't perish, for that food which lasts to everlasting life." What are you working hard for? Is it your relationship with Christ? Is it your fellowship with other believers? Or is it just for the physical things of the world, the things that perish? So my challenge for you is to come to the bread of life, come to Jesus, and believe in him, receive the spiritual nourishment that you need each and every day from him, because that's something that only he can provide. I pray this video helps you this week, maybe challenges you to rethink things, and I pray that we'll see you on Sunday, and God bless.